Good morning everyone, today we're going to be talking about PSO2 today because it literally kicks in tomorrow. But before we jump into all of that, if you're new to the channel, I upload NGS content daily, so if you do play this game, I would really appreciate a subscribe as it really helps out the channel. Anyway, without further ado, let's begin the video. So the very first thing I want to go over are all the ways to boost your rare drop rate in case you missed yesterday's video. But the TLDR is basically from the campaign boost, we will get 150%, this is by default. Then we have PSO2 today itself where we get another 100% rare drop rate. Then we have the N rare drop rate booster that you can get from the recycle shop or the exchange shop where you can get another 100% RDR. Then you get the NEX RDR booster that you can also get from the item recycle, which gives you another 25%. You have your regional mag personal buff, which gives you 20%. Your region mag all buff, which gives everyone on the server 10%. You have Rappy Shape Fritters that you're going to get for free on PSO2 today. You get 2 of these and they last for 24 hours each, so that will give you another 10%. You have the concert buff that gives you an additional 10%. You have the party buff that gives you another 10%. You have your alliance mag boost, which gives you another 10%. And then you have your add-on skill boost, which is a permanent 10% as well. So when you add all of this together, you will have 455% rare drop rate as a fully free to play player. However, if you're a premium player, you do get the additional food buff 10%, which will give you 465% rare drop rate. Now, on top of all of this, if you want to go even further, there is a different rare drop rate booster. There's a 24-hour version, which actually gives you 150% instead of 100%. And with that, it will boost you to 505% or 515% if you are a premium member. So now that you've boosted your rare drop rate over 400% or even 500%, what exactly should you be farming to take full advantage of all this rare drop rate? Well, there's really only 2 main activities that most people are going to be doing. The first one is of course going to be Falz Dalion. A lot of people have been getting a lot of Wingguard weapons. If you look at the Wingguard prices, they have all dropped significantly except for the katana as well as the gunblade. Those 2 are the only weapons that are still above 100 million. All of the other weapons have dropped in price significantly. Like if we talk about the rod, it's like 20 million right now on chip 2, and all the other weapons have been dropping significantly. And I'm assuming maybe within a week, all of these weapons are going to be below 10 million, except for maybe the katana as well as the gunblade, since those are very high value items and a lot of people play the Braver as well as the Slayer. But nevertheless, a lot of people are still going to be very motivated to farm for Falz Dalion because of the relatively high drop rate of the Wingguard series. I say relatively high drop rate, even though it is still pretty rare, but because of the sheer number of people that are farming and are going really hard at this game right now, the number of Wingguard weapons that we are seeing on the market is pretty substantial. So even though the drop rate is still relatively low in my personal opinion, but there is a relatively steady supply of Wingguard weapons if we look at a macro view. So Wingguard weapons, sure, you can farm for this and you can sell them ASAP if you plan to do so in order to make some quick meseta. However, again, the prices are dropping really quickly because of everyone stacking all of this extra rare drop rate. And especially with PSO2 today at 500% rare drop rate, you could probably expect to see a Wingguard weapon about 1 in every 30 to 40 runs is the guesstimate that I'm assuming most people are seeing Wingguards. At least from the data that I have from my group of friends, it's about 30 to 40 runs per Wingguard drop at 500% rare drop rate. So with the Wingguard market in freefall, what is the next best thing? It's gonna be Dext Base, farming for raw meseta. Because again, with 500% rare drop rate as well as the meseta boosters that you can also stack on top. However, remember, if you do have meseta boosters, you need to have the auto sell feature. So when we look at my stat sheet over here and we go to character information, you can see right here that I have an N meseta boost of 20% at the moment. So any items that is sold through auto sell gains this extra 20% meseta boost. However, if I sell that manually by actually dragging an item and like selling it like this, then I do not get that extra 20% meseta boost, okay? So just keep that in mind. So if you are planning to farm in Dext Base, that you do need to go to the shop over here to the SG shop and make sure that you actually buy the auto sell items for 30 days for 400 SG. because if you don't have this, well, then you're going to be missing out on that Meseta boost. However, you could always just not get the Meseta boost and just stack the rare drop rate and just sell all the trash items manually, and you're still going to make well over 1 million Meseta every single hour, especially with 500% rare drop rate. The only problem with manual selling is it's going to be very disruptive to your farming session, simply because you're going to be having full inventory basically every PSE burst. Right after a PSE burst, you're going to have to check your inventory. You're going to be 100 out of 100. Sure, if your inventory does fill up the 100 slots, the extra items will actually go to the temporary drop storage over here of 150 slots. So technically you have 250 slots or items that you can pick up. However, do keep in mind that when it overflows, so when you have more than 250 items, those items are actually discarded. They are not auto sold. So you want to make sure that if you do not have the auto sell feature, that you are cleaning out your temporary drop storage as well as your inventory every PSE burst or every other PSE burst, simply because with 500% rare drop rate or even 450% rare drop rate, you are going to be filling up your inventory basically every PSE burst, especially if it's a forte or if you get an encore. So, just keep that in mind, that it will be relatively disruptive if you don't have auto sell, because you're going to have to keep churning out, going to your inventory, selling the items, and repeating the process over and over after every PSE burst, which can get a little bit annoying. However, if you don't want to spend the 400 star gems on auto sell, it's totally understandable. However, if Dark Falz, Dalion, as well as Dext Base do not interest you, you could always farm the Gorge area for veterans in order to get Dreadkeeper 5s in order to craft the Grand Dreadkeepers. That is always an option. The reason why I'm actually encouraging people to do the Gorge area over the limited time quest is because the Gorge area, you benefit from all of the mag boosts as well as all the other boosts that I talk about in order to maximize your rare drop rate. Versus if you go into the limited time quest over here, you will actually lose some buffs, as certain buffs such as the mag buff does not work in the limited time quest. So that is something that you do need to keep in mind, that even though outside you might have 450 or 500% rare drop rate, inside the limited time quest, that will drop significantly. You might be at like 350 to 400% rare drop rate instead. So that is something that you do need to keep in mind. This also applies to Leciel Exploration. Personally, I do not recommend farming Leciel Exploration, even with all of the boosts, unless you are farming for the weapon camos. The weapon camos, especially the glaive, is still worth a metric butt ton of money. So with the 500% rare drop rate, get a slightly higher chance of getting the glaive. The nice thing about the glaive in particular is the value of this weapon camo has not gone down, simply because people are not farming Leciel Exploration. The majority of the players, especially the endgame players, are farming Dark Falz, Dalion, and then the mid-core players are all farming Dext Base for raw Meseta. So if you do decide to farm Leciel Exploration, you are really just banking on getting this weapon camo, as this is pretty much the only high value item. Other than this, sure, there is a chance of getting a wing guard, so if you do get a wing guard there, that could make you a good sum of money as well. However, as I said earlier, the wing guard prices are currently in free fall. They are losing value by the day because everyone is farming very crazily with insanely high rare drop rates, and on PSO2 day, this is just going to get worse. All right, because everyone's going to be running around with 400, 500% rare drop rate. And so you're going to be seeing a lot more of these items going onto the market. So that is something to keep in mind. Now with the limited time quest, something about this that I'm a little bit skeptical about is going to be the drop rate for these special scratch tickets. With that much rare drop rate, maybe the tickets might drop a little bit more often. However, from my personal experience, I've only been burned by this. Every time I've tried to farm for tickets specifically with like 300, 400% rare drop rate, I've always been absolutely screwed by this. And so for me personally, I will not be farming the limited time quest, especially during PSO2 day. And what I will be doing is I will be farming Dark Falz, Dalion all day, and once I burn out from that, I will move to Dext Base, and once I get bored of that, I will move back to Dark Falz, Dalion. And those are the only two activities that I personally am going to be farming, as that will help me avoid burnout, and it will allow me to play the game a little bit longer and farm a little bit more resources. Special thanks to all the members for supporting the channel. It really means a lot to me. Thank you again. But yeah, that's all I wanted to cover in today's video. Hopefully you guys found it helpful. If you did, I would appreciate a like and a subscribe, and I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video. Bye.